I told you about Dr. Haymaker and his wife.
No.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
My father went in with a doctor in 1897 in Export, PA. His name was Dr. Haymaker. And they would go on vacation with us. Dr. Haymaker was very frugal, and he had lots of money. And in those days, you know, they didn't even trust the banks. They would take their money with us. Dr. Haymaker and his wife had a little satchel about this big. And we were in the car. Bob, it was a 7-passenger. Bob and I, my brother, we sat in the 2 extra seats. And Mrs. Haymaker and mother sat in the back seat, and Dr. Haymaker and father. And they called each other honey and dear. And he would say, dear, we were driving along in our Chandler, I think it was, and he says, dear, honey, I guess what, honey, you have the suitcase, or the satchel, whatever they call it. And she says, no, I gave it to you as we came out of the hotel. Oh, no, you didn't. He said, I certainly did. And she'd say, dear, you're making a fool out of me. You have the suitcase. Well, anyhow, we've lost $100,000. Father said, well, my father says, well, just turn around and go back. And Dr. Haymaker went to get out the seat. In those days, they had running boards, you know, like they have on truck. And as Dr. Haymaker opened the door, he knocked the suitcase off that running board. It was still sitting there after 25 miles.
Were we in that together? You had the lead. Oh, that's right. You always had the lead in every play, no matter where or when. And this was a senior play. What was it called?
One was Love Pirates of Hawaii.
Look at them laughing.
I was dressed like a pirate, and I had a little black mustache and one of the hats like this. I didn't know that I was supposed to be funny. But when I came out on the stage with this outfit on, they all started to laugh, and I forgot my line. I sang so beautifully, they all wanted me to go to New York. It started out, you know, come my comrades one and all, answer to the captain's call. There are none who sail the sea, so half so brave as me. Yo, for pirates bold on a cruise for gold, always bright and gay, in a pirate's way. Not have we to fear with our weapons near. We are pirates brave and bold. Oh, that was beautiful. Yay! Well, the girls used to sometimes, before our basketball games were in a cage, you know what I mean? And of course, and I wasn't playing, man. I was sitting downstairs behind this cage, and the girls wore big black bloomers down to here, and they were full, real full, and then they were tied up here, whatever it was. And
Midi blouses on top.
what was their name? Bonstein. But what was the oldest one?
Frida.
Yeah, I think it was Frida. And I ran around with a fellow by the name of Lacey Adelson. And we were always good friends. He worked in a restaurant. I'd come in and he'd say, open your pocket, and then he'd bring out the peanuts and put them in my pocket. I felt terrible. That's the only time I ever stole, you know. So we were, Lacey and I were at this game, and he was here and I was here, and Frida Bonstein, the good player, and she took a shot, and as she did, this lace broke, and her bloomers fell from here down to her ankles.
Oh,
and,
my goodness.
And here, AC and I are sitting here, and there's just enough for people to walk in front of us. And of course, there's poor Frida out in front of us, standing there with her so-and-so bare. And you never heard such silence at the gymnasium. And one jackass went, ha, 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 ha. That was Lacey. Oh, my God, my face got so red. I thought I would die. I never got over it. I thought
you didn't. You're still talking.
I'm still red in the face too. And he was the only one in the whole place that laughed. God, that was awful. Lacey was a pretty nice guy though. Floyd and Ida were a perfect husband and wife, and the only thing, Floyd was stubborn. He worked for the Pennsylvania Railroad for 50 years, and then they had a pass for him and his wife. They could go anywhere in the United States, so they went to the West Coast. How do you think they went to the West Coast? On the railroad? No, he drove. So, you know, they had some good roads there, or highways in Los Angeles. So Floyd got on the off-ramp to get onto the highway, you know. And when he got up to the top there to go out on the ramp, he was going the wrong way. And the police stopped him and took him down and arrested him. And Floyd, as I say, he was stubborn, and he was a wonderful man. He loved to argue. He said, your signs are all wrong. They said, pay the $10 and we call it square. He says, no, when is the hearing? It's next Wednesday. I'll be there. He got a photographer. They went out and they took pictures of all these signs that were backward. And the cops were there and the justice of the peace. They said, your fine this time will be $25. Well, he said, I have all these pictures to show. And he took 1 hour to show all the pictures. And they said, oh my God, give us $5 for the policeman's fund and we'll call it square and get the hell out of here. And he said, I certainly will not. Here's $1. And he walked out the door. That's a true story. Father went in with a doctor in 1897 in Export, PA. His name was Dr. Haymaker. He was 5'2", and my father was 6'2". And it was fun to see them walking down the street, you know. Father weighed 250 pounds. And they would go on vacation with us. And then we were in Gettysburg. You know that story. You went through Gettysburg and all these statues, General Jackson and all that. And Mother and Mrs. Haymaker went down around this big rock, which was about 30 feet high, and the general standing up on top with a sword. I think it was Andrew Jackson, or one of the Jacksons, whoever it was. And Mrs. Haymaker got the diarrhea.
Oh, God, I heard this story 100
And
times.
she said to my mother, "You watch, nobody comes down the path." Well, she's halfway finished when one of these groups, led by a man, came down around, and Mrs. Haymaker grabbed her panties and pulled them up, and Mother said, "I couldn't warn you any sooner." And I'm sorry I didn't tell you soon enough. We got in the car and we went. Father said to Dr. Haymaker, he said, "Doctor, I smell shit." And the doctor said, "I do too." He said, "Would you mind looking at your shoes?" Dr. Haymaker said, "It is not I. You turn your shoes over and I'll look." So Father said, "Well, wasn't I?" Father said, "This is horrible." He says, "We're stopping the car. These boys have stepped in something terrible." And we got out and he looked at our shoes. He looked at our shoes and he said, "Well, that is a surprise to me." He said, "We're going back to the hotel. I can still smell it." So they drove back to the hotel. It was about 9 o'clock in the evening, and we all went up to our rooms. And I hear Father going, God, I thought the earth was coming to an end, you know. And I went over and rapped on the door, and I said, "What's wrong? Come in." He said, "I blamed everybody in the car except Mrs. Haymaker, and she was the one that was sitting in it."